Welcome to Quantum Revenue Expansion, where we share time-tested strategies to turn your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. Ready to up-level your business and your life? Then you will love listening in on the lively conversations Ursula has with her clients and guests as they share exactly what they did to grow and scale their business exponentially. Plus, you will discover how to experience more freedom, joy, and peace in your business and your life right now. If turning your annual income into your monthly income is your next step, then join us at the next 2X Intensive. Go to ursulainc.co/apply.
Welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion, the podcast where we talk about turning your annual income into your monthly income. Super excited. We have a returning guest, the amazing Andrea Jenson. She is going to share with us all about seven figures. So we're going to talk about seven-figure breakthrough, what it really takes. And this is for, of course, our female listeners as well as our male listeners. But let me say this. For our ladies, only 3% of women make it over the seven-figure mark. And Andrea and I share that passion. It's a conversation we've had. So we're going to be digging in today. And if you're at early multi-six figures, or maybe you're even beyond that, it's all good. Like, this is going to serve you in many ways. So Andrea, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. And this is probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. So I'm super pumped for that.
Right. We are going to rock this show today. So thanks. Before I introduce Andrea, for those of you who don't know her, just a couple of housekeeping things. If you haven't yet, you can go to my homepage, ursulainc.co, download Quantum Revenue Expansion, the masterclass. It's our gift to you. And we do three things. We look at your pricing. How are you pricing? What are you priced at? Are you in alignment with your clients with your pricing? Most of our clients said when they come into our world, they need to 2X their pricing. We're going to talk about your team, your marketing, your systems. And then the third part of the class, we talk about how to really collapse time and get to your goals even faster, which is a little bit about what we're going to talk about today too. So, but if you haven't yet, definitely grab that free gift. So with that, let me tell you about Andrea, or remind you, if you listened to my last show with Andrea, she is the founder of the Cash Flow CFO, the seven-figure entrepreneur solution to scaling a profitable business, and the creator of the Predictable Profits Accelerator, a 5-step holistic approach to creating predictable, that's a new word, predictable business profits. The Cash Flow CFO team provides fractional CFO services, fully outsourced accounting teams, and financial training programs. In other words, all the things on the financial side you need to grow your business. So many questions. So Andrea, just for the sake of our audience, if you would do a short reminder of your story and what inspired you to create the amazing company you have today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, started from the beginning. I started taking some accounting classes in college. I was on a soccer scholarship, had to keep my GPA up, and I was really just there to play soccer and have fun. And started taking accounting classes because I was doing a business degree, and just aced them. It came super easy and natural to me. And so I just kept taking more and more of those classes. And finally, one day, my professor pulled me aside and said, this doesn't come naturally to most people. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I kind of had found my my niche there, if you will, and my passion. And so after college, I went to work for a venture capital firm. And that's really where I just fell in love with business and seeing what went on behind the scenes as far as funding companies and what they did with the funding, and just all of that really cool stuff that was happening there. Worked in corporate, climbed the corporate ladder for many years after that. And then I had a daughter that was born sick, and I had to step away and put my mom hat on full time. So after that, I just decided, this corporate gig maybe isn't for me. And so I started my own business and really saw that there was small to medium-sized business owners out there that were lacking this really fundamental information in their business to be able to manage the day-to-day decisions that they have to make, and also to be able to scale it. So that's where our company supports those business owners. And we've been doing it now for 7 or 8 years. Time flies.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. And I love that journey. And Andrea and I had the pleasure of meeting in another coaching program where we were both growing our businesses. And I kind of came in after, I think you've been there for about a year. And I was just amazed though at hearing your journey and how quickly in your new company you rose through and you broke through 7 figures and have continued to expand. And now you help a lot of other business owners do that by gaining the financial knowledge that we are not born with. Like your professor was probably like, who is this woman who like, it's not natural for men or women. Like there's a small percentage of you out in the world. I definitely know that. And one of the things I hear from a lot of our clients is just, especially in the beginning, like, Ursula, I hate the numbers. I don't even want to look at my bank account. Like it, I'm not sure, how to make this decision. And the longer you're in business, the more you realize that all we do all day long is make decisions. And if you're not making them on, based on financial information, it's hard to grow a profitable business. So share a little bit about like how you work with your clients now and really how what you do, like your clients are already at 7 figures or close to 7 figures, and then you help them expand from there. But how do you work with your clients and how do you really help them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the number one thing that most business owners are missing while they're trying to scale their business is the fundamentals of understanding what it costs them to deliver their products or services, understanding what a customer acquisition cost looks like in their business, and really being able to have those metrics in front of them and use them to make decisions on a day-to-day basis. So for example, when we start working with a client, we start, I joke and say, oh, we're like mechanics. You bring your truck into the mechanic and what do? They open up the hood and they start taking things apart, seeing what's going on in there. That's exactly what we do, but we're doing that with their business model. And so all those things that I mentioned, they're your business model. We want to understand what's the baseline profitability of this business model and what levers do we need to pull to make them more profitable and get them to what their revenue goals are that they've stated with us. So that's essentially, I think what a lot of business owners are missing is that checkup, first of all, to see where they're at. And then from there, they need somebody with our type of brain to go, okay, you just need to do this, this, and this, and then look what you can achieve.
So amazing. Someone to look under the hood. So I'm just going to put it out there because I think this is very prevalent in the world, especially amongst women business owners. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of shame in the numbers, the finance, when I talk to clients, they're like, I'm embarrassed. Like I'm not where I thought I was going to be, or, we're not scaling the way I'd hoped we were, or I just don't feel like I even understand the numbers. And I know a big part of that is we're not educated. Like no one's teaching us that in elementary school or high school, or unless you get a specialized degree, you're not going to learn how to do that. So how do you help your clients really take the shame out of this numbers game that we're all playing?
That is such a great question because we bring in such brilliant financial people into our company to help support our clients. And we spend so much time on helping them craft a story. What is it that you're explaining to the client? Why does this matter to them? How does this tie back to what they've told you are their 1, 3, and 5 year financial goals? And so it's one thing for your CFO, your accountant, your bookkeeper to present you a spreadsheet and go, here you go, here's all the information you're looking for. And it's another thing for them to weave into a story of what this is, why it's going to help your business, and how it relates to your personal, what you're trying to achieve with your business. And so if you don't have somebody that can tell you that story, the information is useless, even though it could be the biggest, greatest thing ever. So you need, as any business owner, you need somebody that can speak your language and explain these things to you that are sometimes really complex in a way that you can digest them and immediately use it as a tool to make decisions in your business.
So really giving the numbers context, they have meaning. They're saying something about the health of your business and where you can take it next to grow. Got it. So you shared you're a mom, and by the way, your daughter is doing better. Like she's
14 now, and she's great.
Yes. And you have another daughter. You have 2 daughters.
I do. Yes. I've got a 4-year-old running our lives over here.
Yeah. So we got to put that out there because it's not like you're just sitting around, like you and your business, and you're married, like you have a family, you have 2 daughters, you have a young child, like there's a lot going on in your life. And the reason I put that out there is because years ago, I was speaking at an event and I had a woman come up to me afterwards, well-meaning, like I'm sure her heart was in a good place. And she was a mom. And she looked at me and she said, you know, and she had just heard me speak and share my story. And she said, you know why you're successful? And I was like, oh no, do tell. I love it when people love to just come and tell you all the things right after you've been speaking on stage or whatever. And she said, it's because you don't have kids. And I was like, I was partially horrified and also very saddened because I was trying to have kids at the time and we were really struggling in the fertility journey. So a lot of people made the assumption we weren't having kids or we didn't want kids. And so, but I was like horrified and I thought, where does this come from? Right. And there's this belief that, you know, I think in our society that if we're moms, if we're married, like that we can't, there's not a way for us to have a successful 7-figure business. So I want you to dispel, if you will, some of the myths about that that's not possible, or just why you think a lot of women don't make it over the 7-figure mark.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting. I think if I look back on my journey for that, I think that some of the greatest blessings have been being a mom and being forced to either do things smarter, do things in a way that if I didn't have those other obligations, it might have taken me a lot longer to get to where I'm at. So being pregnant, that was, you know, I was sick a lot. And it was one of those where I had a team. We were probably about, I'd say about 15-ish or so employees at the time. Team members that had been with me from the beginning, some new, some, you know, it was a good mix. And when I was, you know, having all these wonderful pregnancy, morning sickness things, I had to step away. And it was one of those of like, I've built this foundation and now it's going to be tested because I can't be there on the day-to-day to make sure everything runs smooth. And we doubled in revenue that year. You know, so it's just an example of, and I might not have gotten there that fast had I been there tinkering.
Right.
And been there to answer all the questions and been there to do all the things. So it was really a matter of, you know, when you set up systems, processes, the proper training, the proper, just all the little components that need to go into a business that runs without you, because that's the other side of it. It's one thing to build a 7-figure business, but it's another thing to build a team managed 7-figure business. And that's a whole nother conversation. But being a mom and having those other responsibilities really forced me to just, you know, do things a lot faster than I probably would have done in my scaling journey.
Yeah. Such a, like, so much richness in that. And I agree with you. You know, I feel like moms are limited. We're limited on time. So we don't have like the 8 to 12 to 15 hour day to figure stuff out. Like it's between this time and this time. And not that we're not thinking about our business, but it's really like, you can't be present with your kids and be running your business at the same time. It just doesn't work. So it's like, how much can I get done? And that's really about collapsing time, right? To your point of, you can really scale a business and collapse time when you have the right team, process, systems in place, and then it just starts to run itself. And truly, you don't have a company until you can leave for a month and not check in and come back and still have a company, right? Like that's the truth. That's the true test. Andrea, what do you wish business owners knew? Like say business owners sort of $500,000 to 750, and they're wanting to scale past 7 figures. Like there's the elusive 7 figures for so many, right? It's like that magical unicorn number, which really in the bigger scheme of things, does it really matter? I don't know, probably not. But what would you say to someone who's at that level, who just wants this to be their breakthrough year?
Yeah, I would say know your numbers is the easiest thing that you can do to get from the 6 figures to the 7 figures. Mm-hmm. And when I say know your numbers, it breaks down to a really simple equation, right? If you know, okay, I need to grow my revenues by, you know, let's just make up round numbers, 500,000.
Yep.
And how many units does that equate to? How much team does that equate to? How many leads does that equate to? What's my sales conversion rate? I know now I'm speaking your language, but it all comes together because and then it becomes like, all right, I need 30 leads a month. Easy peasy. Can I go do 30 leads a month? Yes, I can. And can I convert them at a 40% sales conversion rate? Yeah, I can. And so then when you know all of those numbers, you're not stressed on the, oh, I have to bring in this much revenue. No, you break it down into little chunks and you just focus on those chunks. Or even better, if you have team, you say, okay, marketing, I need 30 qualified leads, and this is how much I can afford to pay you. This is what's in my budget. Can you do it? Yes or no? And now you have metrics that you can track them, and they know what success looks like for the engagement with you. And then you go to your salesperson and you say, all right, salesperson, I've got the 30 leads coming in. Can you close at least 40%? Yeah, I can. Awesome. Now you've got scorecards in each of these different segments of your business that you can say, am I on track? And if so, great, keep doing what you're doing. And if the numbers aren't coming in where you want them to be, well, now you know where you spend your time and your focus over the next 30, 60, 90 days to get that back in alignment. And then everything, so if you compartmentalize the different functions of the business and have key metrics for each one, then you're looking at like a dashboard, like your car, am I going to run out of gas before I get to where I'm going? Those are the types of things that I wish more business owners understood. And it really takes the complexity and the I almost want to say like the guessing, right? Out of it.
Spaghetti against the wall. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and great. So know your numbers. We're going to hashtag know your numbers. You said a word though, that comes up a lot in our world, and you and I have had discussions about it. You said the M word, which is marketing. And I think a lot of times we can know all the numbers, right? And then it's like, does my marketing need to change? Have things shifted in the world? Or, if it feels like the marketing doesn't work. So what are side note, we do tell our clients, we're always like, you got to have 3 to 5 ways that you're marketing all the time. Like you can't depend on one, and it can't just be spaghetti against the wall. But what do you do, or what do you recommend your clients do when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that the companies that are spending 30 grand a month on marketing, sometimes you have to test a lot of different lead sources. But if you're testing, so like in business, we're constantly testing. There's never like, oh, I figured it out, and for the next 10 years, this is what it is. That doesn't exist. It's funny. I joke, my husband recently became a business owner.
Yeah.
And I said to him, he's like, everything just keeps changing. Just when I think I've figured it out, I'm like, that is being a business owner. And you have to go, yes, I'm cool with that. And I'm constantly ready to just problem solve. But for marketing, when you're tracking your marketing, you want to separate your channels, right? So that you're looking at the metrics per channel. And then you want to have a variance. So you might find something that's working really well for you, and that's awesome. But have a variance that says, if my lead sources change within 10% of what it should be, I need to start focusing back on that part of my business and go, okay, is this something that's happening outside of our control? Is this something that's happening because this platform has changed their rules or whatever it may be? And so if you have those little alarms that will go off, then you can stay ahead of the game. And it's not like, oh, wait, my leads went from 30 to now 6. Now I'm going to act. It's too late at that point, because now you're going to see that dip in the rest of the engine of the business. So number one, separate it by segment, because that's really important to track them individually versus as a whole. And then have the whatever that number is that percent you want to set as your variance threshold, identify that, and then make sure you have someone tracking it. And it shouldn't be you, the business owner. You've got enough to deal with. Don't be the one that compiles the data. Have somebody compile it and give it to you. And then every month you're reviewing, as the business owner, that's your job, is to review all the metrics of the business and then, plan your decision-making accordingly to that.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. I know we could talk all day. I have one more question before we wrap up. So when I was introducing you, we were talking about, you have the 5-step holistic approach to creating predictable business profits. I don't know why I can't say that today. So the 5-step holistic approach, what do you want to highlight a little bit of that for us? Just also for those who are listening, who are like, oh my gosh, I love Andrea, I love what she's all about. Like, what is that?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So it's really looking at,
you lost your sound for a second. Go ahead.
so funny. I don't know why.
Now I got you.
So it's really important to look at your business is an asset to create personal wealth for you, the business owner. So when you look at your business in that way, you want to make sure that when we say holistically looking at it, it's not off on this island over here and then your personal everything is over here. They're very intertwined. And so we want to look at everything of what we start off, and we want to identify what are your 1, 3, and 5-year financial goals? What do you want this business to produce profit wise for you to be able to fund your personal investments, your personal lifestyle, your everything there? And then it's important to understand too, what are you trying to achieve with this business? Is this asset that you're creating something that you want to sell in 3 to 5 years? Or is this asset something that you're going to hold on to for the next 20 years and it's going to be your main revenue stream? So how fast do you want to grow it? How much do you want to work? Like, these are all really important things to understand so that we can work backwards in creating this asset for you. So we understand that, and then we look at your pricing, because that's so important. And when I say look at your pricing, we actually look at it backwards, and we look at how much does it cost you to deliver this product or service. Because once you understand those numbers, then you know your margins, and then that helps you set your pricing, because you need the rest of the, say for every dollar you bring in revenue, if 40% is going to deliver your product or service, that's your cost of goods or cost of revenue if you're a service-based business. That other 60% gets allocated between general and administrative expenses, marketing, and profit. And based on your business model and your business goals, we help you set what percent should go to each of those 4 big buckets. So then once we get your pricing dialed in, we know how much it costs you to deliver on your sales. Then we start to look at your marketing channels. So we look at all the different ways that you're bringing in leads. We understand your customer acquisition cost. We understand your customer lifetime value, because all of those things are going to help us determine what should your marketing budget be. So when we talked about setting your percentages for every dollar in revenue, you've got to put some of that has to go to marketing to bring in new customers.
Right.
What does it cost you to bring in a new customer? So we identify that. And then the 4th module is understanding all the different metrics. So we put together this beautiful dashboard. So you're not looking at a black and white piece of paper with just words and numbers on it. We're putting it in a way that you can quickly grab the info that you need on a monthly basis, and we're presenting that to you. And then the last step is wealth and impact. So by the time we get to this point, most of our clients go, oh, what did I say I wanted my 1, 3, and 5-year goals to be? Yeah, just double those, because now I understand how my business model works, and I'm able to be in the driver's seat of controlling. If I put more in over here, I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's like baking a cake, right? You know the recipe, and you're going to get those same results every time, because you're tracking, you're measuring the oven temperature, you're measuring how much ingredients are going in.
Yeah.
Same thing with your business model. And so that's our 5-step process that we take our clients through.
So powerful. Thank you. I'm sure lots of people are taking notes as they listen. And I know you have something for our listeners. Do you want to share what that is and how they can get connected with you, Andrea?
Sure. Well, I welcome everybody to come check us out on our website. It's called thecashflowcfo.com. You can book a time to chat with us and find out if this might be a solution for your business. And we have all kinds of goodies on the website as well. We've got a blog with a lot of this type of information, so you can kind of go and check it out. We also have a YouTube page where you can hear a lot of me explaining this stuff in more detail. And we have a free guide of how to know when is the right time to hire a fractional CFO in your business.
Oh, perfect. All right. So that's all at the Cash Flow CFO. We'll have that in the show notes. Andrea Jenson, thanks for hanging out with us again. We appreciate you, and we wish you your best year yet.
Thank you so much. And I wish the same for you and all your listeners.
Thank you. And thanks to our listeners all over the world. We love you. Thanks for hanging out, and make this your most epic month yet.
Thank you for joining us today. And if you are ready to make your next quantum leap, let's do it. Ursula invites you to join us at the 2X Intensive. Go to salescoachnow.com/apply. Don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite podcast app.